So cool. We'll get started, and as and when participants are joining, I'll keep adding them. Again, a very good morning. Today's virtual session is the last session in the dYdX series, and this will be taken up by Pratik, who is helping us understand how can we build better communities in the Web3 world. Um, he has years of experience working with blockchain startups and is passionate about creating sustainable communities in the Web3 ecosystem. Today's session will highlight what is it that we can do better, what are the incentives that people can get to engage better in the Web3 communities, and how can we foster a culture of collaboration, especially in the Web3 space. So without much further delay, over to you, Pratik. Pratik, you're on mute.
So sorry for that. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session on a Wednesday morning. As this session is going to be about community and growth, would love if this session could be as interactive as possible. Would love to see you guys. So if you can turn on your cameras, that would be amazing. I want to have a two-way communication here. I don't want to just be the person talking to profile pictures. So if I could see real faces, I would also be incentivized to be more interactive in this session, right? Awesome. So let me just share my screen and then we'll get into the content. Is everyone able to see the screen? All right. So first of all, thank you so much to the T-Hub team for organizing this. This is the last session and we're going to talk about community and growth. This is the most understated, undervalued thing when it comes to the Web3 ecosystem. There are a lot of people who are building great products, but the one thing that they are not concentrating is on building a sustainable community around it. So today we'll be discussing the essentials of community building, where we talk about Web3 communities and how do you grow your users in the Web3 and the DeFi ecosystem. A little bit about myself. I stumbled upon the world of crypto in the year 2016 when I was in college, and since then I've been working with a lot of crypto startups, building content and communities for them. One of them being Vault, CoinDCX, Delta Exchange, and now dYdX. So very varied, kind of experience I have working with centralized, now working with a decentralized foundation. So what is the number one mistake Web3 builders make? I think I've already given out the answer. That is, they do not give a lot of time and efforts to building a community. And Stanny, who is the founder of Aave, once said that it's underestimating the work that goes into building a community around your product. So building a great product is not that difficult, but building a community which actually feels strongly about your product is something which takes a lot of time and effort, right? So I would suggest if you are someone who's planning to build a Web3 product, it's always good to start building your own community even before launching the product, so that you could have a lot of discussions among your community and then go ahead and build the product that you want to build. So community means sharing value with those who created, and this is something that a lot of Web3 founders that I've spoken to do not understand. Coming from Web2 to Web3, in Web2, you don't have that strong nature of building communities. It's basically more of insane user growth that they look at. But when it comes to DeFi protocols or Web3 products, getting that insane growth is very difficult. And I'll come to that again, why it is difficult. So that's one of the reasons community management and community growth in its nature is very critical. So first of all, let's understand who is in your community. Do you guys want to put it in the chat? What do you think who is in your community? Like, imagine that you are building a Web3 product. Now, tell me in the comments who is in your community. I think apart from Dhira and Adesh, nobody has turned on their cameras. If you would like to, it would be amazing. Awesome. So,
Hello, sir.
hi, Adesh. So you can put it in the comment section if you know who is in your community. This will actually help us to take things ahead. I want to think as we speak. Right? As we speak, I want you guys to think who is in your community. All right. Customers, supporters of Web3. So who is in your community, starting from users to the investors of your product to traders? If it's a exchange, then traders, partners, builders or developers, influencers who keep talking about your product, ambassadors who vouch for your product, developers and artists. All these people collectively are in your community. Now, what is the most important uh, for building a strong community? So the most important thing to build a strong community has to be incentive, right? Incentive design is the most important problem to work on. So according to Devon, who works at Notion, he says humans are good at overcoming obstacles when they have reasons to do so. The worst problems tend to be the ones of cooperation and not technological. So basically, he's trying to say that whenever humans want to solve a problem, the most worst problems are the ones where you have to cooperate with one another and not technological or scientific, which actually is the case with a lot of Web3 products in the crypto industry, where incentive design is not the right for the users to take the right direction in the community, right? I'll give you a few examples as we go ahead. So what drives the community? We've already spoken that, incentive drives the community. Now, the few examples of incentives that we use at dYdX Foundation is giving out social clout, giving a role. For example, if you have a community on Telegram, if you see a user who is being very active in helping other users, you could probably assign a role to him. Governing power, for example, if people hold dYdX tokens, they could put out proposals and also like vote on the platform. Intellectual stimulation, financial value. For example, if you're running a quest or probably you're running a quiz, you give out some sort of financial value to the person who's winning. Someone who has invested in your platform, capital at stake, product improvements, goodies and swag. So all these things combined can drive a community. Now it depends what kind of community you want to build. You want to build a community of traders, you want to build a community of uh, product enthusiasts, or so on. So you need to make sure that whatever community that you want to build, there should be a proper incentive design so that your community is active enough and grows as the product grows as well. Now, do you guys have any questions still here? Like, if you guys have any questions, please free to ask, because I want some sort of active participation here. All right. So now we've understood what are the incentive designs that we have, right? Now we need to make a persona. For example, if you're from the Web2 world, if you've done a little bit of marketing here and there, you know what kind of persona your user is. For example, people who use a dating platform, their persona is simple as that, right? They are somewhere in the age group of 18 to 30, 35, who are single, who are looking out to meet a partner for XYZ reasons. So you have a user persona in mind. So for a Web2 product, like a dating platform, it's very easy to target them through ads and everything. But when it comes to Web3 products, you do not have any clue who they are, right? For example, if you're using MetaMask, now MetaMask does not know your age, MetaMask does not know your email ID, MetaMask does not know what's your gender, nothing. So that's where you need to make sure that the community is a way of driving the user growth as well. So first of all, we need to understand, if we are talking about dYdX is a decentralized exchange. So my user persona is people who are traders, who are security freaks. They don't want to trade on a centralized exchange. They are little bit DeFi pro. They know how to use wallets like Rainbow or wallets like MetaMask. So this is my audience. The audience who's already in crypto, who has good knowledge about trading, is the audience for dYdX Foundation. So according to the product, you need to make your own persona, and then we move forward in that case. So for example, if you want to build a community of developers, what are the things that will actually help them have an liking towards your community, or probably an incentive towards your community? First is intellectual stimulation. If you're giving out a stature or role, improvements is something that a developer would be interested to be active on your community. If it's a micro influencer, like I've worked with over 350 influencers across the globe, and most of them only talk about financial value. They do not care about goodies and swag. That's the hard reality. But there are few micro influencers in your community that you could develop who could also be driven through goodies and swag, apart from like adding financial value to them. Okay, so any questions still here? Anything?
No, maybe I think it will help, Pratik, if you take the example of dYdX and connect the dots. Like, I mean, when you're thinking of developers, how did you reach out? I mean, how is dYdX thinking of the community? I mean, I think what you're showing us is making sense. But of course, if you connect the story back to dYdX, it's much more helpful.
Yeah. So I've not worked with developers. I am working currently with building a group of building a community of traders. So I know what are the pain points when it comes to building a group, a community for traders. The first and the foremost is high fees. You have security reasons because exchanges like FTX has gone bankrupt. People have lost a lot of money. So when you're building a community, you need to make sure that what are the pain points currently in the ecosystem. For example, if I want users to get onboarded on dYdX exchange, I know the pain point is you have your own custody. We do not have custody of your funds. This is a complete decentralized exchange. You could trade whatever you want from wherever you are. You are not giving your any personal information whatsoever. Then while building a community, I made sure that we had a lot of incentive for people to come and trade on our platform. For example, if you trade on dYdX exchange, you get rewards in form of dYdX tokens, right? So as you pay fees, you get these tokens that could be used for governance in the future. So indirectly, what is happening, the people who are trading on dYdX are getting dYdX tokens, and the utility of those tokens is you can be a part of governance. But whereas if you trade on a centralized exchange, for example, if you're trading on Binance, you're not getting to do anything with the governance at Binance because that's a centralized exchange, right? Apart from that, we designed the whole structure in such a way that people who are trading up to $100K of volume do not have to pay any fees. So small traders, there are a lot of small traders in India who trade only $100, $200. So their whole volume for the month is less than $100K. So so just to make sure that I attract the right set of audience, we made sure that we are not taking any fees up to $100K of volume every month. So the incentive for a trader is like, okay, if I'm a small trader, if I go to dYdX, I do not have to pay any fees till $100K of volume. And if I cross $100K of volume, and if I start paying fees, I get dYdX tokens, which I could probably use at governance. So there's a huge incentive model here because nobody in the centralized ecosystem is giving these kind of values when it comes to the trading community, right?
One question, Pratik. See, I mean, when you are thinking like this, right? I mean, obviously, I mean, think of it from a founder's shoes, right? I mean, if dYdX is being built by us, and when we are trying to, where should we first focus? You did talk about, building the community is the first thing which we should always, focus on. But from the founder's perspective, when you think of right the product and the solution, I mean, what is the differentiation we are trying to bring into the market is the thing. So, who kind of plays an important role in building these things, like what you just said, right? I mean, 100K volume. I mean, if all small traders, I'm not going to charge them, right? Who takes the decision? I mean, is the marketing guys or who? I mean, I'm just to understand, right? Is the community going to tell you that way when you start building it? And how do you actually arrive at that?
Okay. So as dYdX is a decentralized exchange, most of the things that happen on the platform is through governance. You put out a proposal out there, people who have dYdX tokens can go vote yes or no, if they are in the favor of the decision or are they against it. Now, how do we understand this is by doing a lot of user surveys. Okay, before launching any new feature, we do a lot of user surveys. Like currently, we are working on dYdX V4, and we have done over 150 plus user surveys in India to understand what the traders want. So once we understand, okay, this is the problem statement, this is the feature, these are the things that the user wants, we make sure that you convey it to the developer team, and the developer team actually goes ahead and develops it. So basically, every decision that it's taken is taken through the governance. And to get to the governance, we do a lot of research, on-ground research with our users to understand what they want, right? The worst, I mean, the one of the things that with the Web3 platforms and DeFi products is you do not have access to their email ID, and the only way to contact them is if they are active in your community, if they're active on Discord, Telegram, or wherever, right? So building a community is very important, or else you will never be able to understand who is the trader who's trading on a platform, who is the person who is actually a user.
But see, coming back to the question of governance tokens, when you said user surveys and governance tokens will help you to decide what how to take it forward.
Yes.
I mean, again, a little critical point of view from a if I have to think of it, right? I mean, see, when you start, I think we had this conversation about the DAOs and the governance structures in the last meeting, and we were talking about different mechanisms there. I think we talked both the advantages and disadvantages of it. But when you start the journey, right? I mean, there is some certain amount of centralization required, right? I mean, and my question to you was, I mean, the surveys, user surveys, mostly tend to become like. So, for example, if you see, right, in even in you see most, I mean, whether it's Discord group or whether it's a WhatsApp group, wherever you are in the communities wherever you're building, you see only few people being active, right? Most of them are actually going to be consumers, right? Then the contributors. And over a period of time, the survey kind of the user surveys, how do you make sure that user surveys are not very biased to those, how do you make sure that?
It's not to bias, like what? Like we do not.
Like, I mean, for example, only the active users tend to vote, or active users tend to, participate in the decision making or the governance tokens, right?
Yeah.
It kind of again becomes more or less, centralized, right? I mean, though there are 100 people who are actually having governance tokens, but there are only 10 people who are actually active in the community.
Yes.
You almost tend to again, it's like voting, right? I mean, yeah, everybody in India can vote. Everybody above 18 can vote, but at the end of the day, when the decision of election politics comes only to 40-45% of the people only select.
That's true.
Right, and we see the impact of that, right? How the countries, how the states are being run today, right? So now, how is it going to be very different, or how are you as a Web3 community thinking differently to make sure that the acceptance? I mean, what is are there some kind of an incentive programs you are thinking of to make sure everybody participates in the governance?
Yeah.
I'm just asking a question from that perspective, Pratik.
So when it comes to surveys, we definitely give out incentives for people to hop on a call with us to understand what they want, right? So this is how we incentivize them to actually give us valuable answers. People who give us valuable inputs, we definitely reward them in the form of merch or dYdX hedges, which I'll talk about in the coming slides. When it comes to governance voting, we are really new to this whole industry right now. A lot of people are still driven just by financial incentive. People out there are not in for tech, they're in for money. So slowly you will see the people getting educated. We are doing a lot of content. We are running a YouTube channel called as Humans of DeFi, where we are telling people how we are telling stories about people who are successful in the DeFi space. So it would take a lot of years for people to be in the space just for the tech and not for the money. But unfortunately, most of the people enter the crypto space just for money, and I think over a period of time that will change. So we cannot change this overnight. That's for sure.
Makes sense. I think I got to what I want to hear. Yeah, that's more. I think I'm the only one who's talking. I want to open for others.
Got it. I think there's a few questions here. How is dYdX different from other exchanges? How safe it is? Well, dYdX is a decentralized exchange. You have custody to your own funds. Pranay, when you announce incentive, users can participate and take their rewards. After redemption of rewards like airdrops, people no longer will be active in community. And how can you focus on it? Well, so dYdX had a really big airdrop. Not sure if you guys have observed it. It was one of the biggest airdrops in the history of the crypto space. There were people who got as high as $50,000. So I think definitely most of the products that are coming out with airdrops are not great products. That's why they are not able to retain the audience. Now, on this funnel that I'm showing you, we have acquisition, activation, and retention. This is where if you have a great product and you have good community building skills, you will actually go ahead and retain a lot of. So let's get into the slide now. So first thing is acquisition. Now, how will you acquire new people into your community or into your product? First is social media, right? Twitter is really important. Twitter, Telegram, Discord. These are the three platforms that the crypto users hang out. Referral marketing is also one of the most important things. If we talk about a decentralized exchange, referral marketing contributes to almost 20 to 25% of the new traders coming in. Content is also something that helps you acquire new customers, PR, sponsorships, partnerships, and influencer marketing. So when it comes to building a Web3 product, Google ads, Facebook ads do not really work the best, right? Because they have a lot of regulations, they have a lot of boundaries set for crypto products to advertise themselves. So influencer marketing is something which is very critical when it comes to in the Web3 space, because you are actually not only getting eyeballs from the influencers, but also getting some sort of trust. If you're working with the right kind of influencer, you are indirectly borrowing trust from that influencer for your product. So influencer marketing has worked really best for me across my career so far in the crypto space. As I said, that I've made more than 350. I worked with more than 350 influencers. So working with the right set of influencers can give you like massive growth. But the problem is the right set of influencers are very less in the system. So you need to choose the influencers very due diligently. Second is, okay, fine, you got users on your platform, you got downloads or wallet connects or whatever it is. Now how do we activate those customers or those users? So you can activate through running a lot of quests. So we at dYdX, we have a proper calendar where we do like one quest every month with one influencer. You could do bounties, community calls. So we have weekly community calls where we come ahead and we talk about what are the new changes that are happening in our dYdX ecosystem, probably what is a new feature or what is a new proposal. So in the starting, you might only get like a single digit number of people joining the call, because nobody is that much interested in understanding what is happening in your ecosystem. But eventually that number of people will grow. So you can have community calls every week, every 15 days or whatever. The next one is governance. So whenever you ask people, okay, this is the new feature coming out, or probably this is the new proposal, do you want to vote yes or no? So you could do a lot of these proposals and actively promote it on your social media. So people who already are in your ecosystem, some of them will get activated. Contest and games, podcast is something that we're doing. Events like these where people are getting to know about dYdX and directly also getting some sort of knowledge about the Web3 space is a great win, because in the Web2 space, you only talk about your product. But when it comes to Web3, as the Web3 community is really small, you cannot just talk about your product. You have to talk about the industry to have a wide reach, right? You might see that dYdX does a lot of Twitter spaces around how can you start your career in Web3 and whatnot, which is nowhere related to dYdX Foundation. But we are building the whole community as a one ecosystem, right? So this is how activation goes ahead. For retention, you need ownership, voting, V tokens, features, and whatnot. So this is how basically a structure that we follow at dYdX Foundation: awareness, onboarding, contribution, put it with a referral, a referral marketing, and just repeat it. So people who are users of dYdX Exchange can actually refer to their friends and families, and also get small sort of referral bonus, which will help them incentivize to refer more people. Now, designing communities is different for different verticals. For example, if you want to design a community for NFT community, that's very different. You need to give them some sort of access to a lot of events, some sort of access to inner circle. For example, if you have a NFT of XYZ, you can attend XYZ events. So you need to make sure that you are building a community around those events as well as around that NFT as well. When it comes to DeFi protocols like dYdX, where we are building a community of traders, builders. The most important part for us is to have community-led discussions. So our community should have more discussions about governance, about tokenomics, about uh, cash flows, how much fees should dYdX charge, how much it should not charge, how should we manage the treasury, how should we add new features. So for a DeFi protocol, the kind of discussions you need is very different. The kind of discussions you need for an NFT community is very different. So once you map your community persona, user persona to your community, you map your incentives. Once you map your incentives, then you can design the verticals for your community. Now, think of community members as users, because as I told you, I've worked with centralized exchanges where marketing was very easy. Even if you don't build a strong community in centralized exchanges or centralized platforms, you could still get a lot of growth. But when it comes to DeFi and Web3, your community members are your users, right? That's a full stop. Now, the beauty of having users on a DeFi protocol is you can actually go ahead and do a wide range of analysis, that is on-chain analysis. Now, if somebody does not know what is on-chain analysis is basically analysis of their activity on the blockchain, right? So, for example, if someone is trading on Uniswap, now I can understand, okay, this trader, this person is trading on Uniswap, so that means he knows a little bit about crypto or whatever it is. So great example is Nike. So Nike recently started a mint for his collectible digital sneaker. Now, people who buy who mint the sneaker, they could do an analysis, on-chain analysis on these people. They can see whether this person is active on StepN. So StepN was basically a great concept where you could earn money while walking, right? Earn rewards, actually, not money. Earn rewards while walking. So people who mint a Nike NFT, Nike can actually go ahead and see what all things the person is doing on the blockchain, and accordingly they can spend their marketing budget in the future. So on-chain analysis is great. A lot of companies don't do that because it's still really new, but this is something that one could do in order to understand their customers, their community even better. So now let me talk about few community tools and platforms. Before that, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I think KC Reddy has asked a question. Other decentralized perpetual exchanges like GMX likes to decentralizations. Since they have off-chain infra like Persian keepers, liquidators to execute long and short positions, how does dYdX handle liquidations and position executions? So, Casey, the thing is, a lot of things still are off-chain because of limitations when it comes to speed and liquidity. dYdX order books are also off-chain as of now, but as we're moving to dYdX v4, the order books would be on-chain. So nothing in this world currently is pure decentralized, because if you want the best experience, especially when it's a trading exchange where you need your trades to be executed within a second, you need to have those kind of resources at your fingertips in order to get those kind of features. But as we speak, a lot of things are happening, and slowly and steadily it will take a few years for things to go completely decentralized. But right now, even in a lot of companies, there are few centralized elements that I can talk about. Now let's talk about few community tools and platforms that a lot of people use. For example, if you want to chat in the Web3 ecosystem, you need to be active on Discord, Twitter, Telegram. If you are having a async chat, Reddit is a great platform. A lot of things come out of Reddit, a lot of intellects. So an experience that I have so far working with a lot of exchanges is a lot of whales, a lot of people with a lot of money. They are hanging out on Reddit, Reddit as a platform, right? So this is something that I discovered while doing a lot of influencer marketing and trying to figure out where my users are hanging out. So Reddit is a great platform, and a lot of people with great value, value in their hand, are hanging on Reddit. For discovery, you could use tools like Discovery DAOs. YouTube as a platform has great YouTube channels around Web3, where you could understand what the project is doing and how you could probably contribute there. Truts is again a platform. It's an Indian platform where you could explore other communities and build your own. Marketplace is basically a place where you can buy and sell NFTs. So a lot of communities are bringing up their own NFTs so that they could incentivize the user on chain and keep them in a private or a closed kind of a Discord group. So if you want to check out NFTs, you need to go to OpenSea, LooksRare, and so on. If you want to explore metaverse, then Decentraland Sandbox is the platforms that you could use. Integrations, if you want to integrate your product with some other product, you could try using Collabland, Fan Circles. For management of your Web3 product or Web3 ecosystem, you could use Gitbook, Notion, Canva, Snapshot, Mirror. And to boost engagement, or probably to understand how well your community is being engaged, you can try using Coordinate, SourceGrid, and Tip.cc. Other few platforms that you could use if you are building a Web3 product is Karma. So Karma actually helps you with a lot of data of what is happening in the governance of your platform. So this will actually help you track a lot of things. One example is Aave. So here you can see top delegates, what is their DAO score, how much they have voted, and how many members are active and whatnot. So this essentially takes all the on-chain data that is happening on the blockchain and convert it into a very simple, easy to understand databases, so that you could take decisions accordingly. The other one is Gather. As we're speaking on a Google Meet, this is really boring. A lot of people have not even turned on their cameras. It's really boring. But with Gather, you could do virtual meetings. It's basically like a Zoom call, but with few gamifications that would keep the whole ecosystem interacted. Because if you're building a Web3 product, and if you think that I'll set up an office in Hyderabad and I'll ask everyone to come to Hyderabad and work from there, probably that's not going to happen, because the best of the best talent in Web3 are across the globe. So when you're working remotely, you need a good ecosystem to work with. So Gather is something that we at dYdX also use, and it's very interactive. You could probably check it out sometime. The other tool that we use at dYdX is Karma. So for example, dYdX has a lot of profiles across the globe. For example, there's dYdX India, there's dYdX Canada, Turkey, and whatnot. So all the platforms, all the information collectively on one database is something that helps us to automate reward system and campaigns. So Karma is something that we, and it's really helpful for us so far. So probably if you are planning, you could also just check Karma out. Now, for example, POPs. If you don't know what POPs are basically proof of attendance. Uh, just remember the times when we used to go to school and the teacher used to call out your name. You used to just raise your hand and say present. You used to get your attendance. But in the Web3 space, we use POPs. So POPs are basically a digital collectible that you get whenever you are attending a conference, an event, or whatever. For example, all the people here who have joined the call, 53 of them, if I want to make sure that I remember that you people had joined the call 5 years down the line, what will I do is I'll show you a QR code. I'll ask you guys to scan it, put your Ethereum address, and I'll send a digital collectible to you, which is on the blockchain, so it cannot be deleted, right? So POPs is one of the way that you could incentivize your community members. So dYdX Foundation, what we do is, whenever someone is joining a community call, I send them a POP. Now, on the blockchain, I can see how many users have the maximum POP. One person, if he's attended all the community calls, he'll have the maximum POPs. So I know that this user is the most important user for me, because he has been spending 1 hour every week attending our community calls. So POPs is also very critical to incentivize your users to stay connected and stay engaged in your ecosystem. Now, if you want to give them a reward or not, that's up to you. But at least you'll understand how many people are actually like true loyal users, true loyal guardians of the protocol. Pranay is asking how micro-influencers play a role in community building. Talking about micro-influencers, how I use them at dYdX, how I use them at all the other companies that I work with, is basically I drive a narrative, right? For example, right now, if I want to drive a narrative about why is it important to use decentralized exchanges, so I use these influencers to make sure that they give out critical information to their audience about the differences between centralized and decentralized exchanges, how decentralized exchanges have better security than centralized. So it's basically about you are giving out a narrative. You're using the micro influencer as a distribution, and you're sending out a message to their followers in a very subtle manner. Okay, if you're someone who is very aggressive when it comes to marketing in Web3, most of the people will brush you off as you are someone who is scamming, or probably you're someone who is gonna rug people off. So you need to be as subtle as possible with your marketing campaigns, especially with influencers, and make sure that you're not talking much about the product, but you're talking more about the narrative. For example, if you're building a community of So you have a Web3 AI product, imagine. So you don't have to talk about your product. You'll have to talk about your industry. Okay. Once you talk about your industry and then you integrate your product very subtly, the kind of users will come to your platform, the kind of members who will join your community is much more different than you just talk about this is a beautiful Web3 AI platform, go try and use it. If you do that, your campaign will not work that well, right? So it's very important to have the messaging with micro influencers straight, micro or even the big influencers straight. Mahalakshmi asks, how can one build Web3 community for startups? It's as simple as, you understand what the product is. For example, if you are building, uh, for example, if just like if you're building a game, right? If you're building a game, Web3 game. So what you can do is, first of all, you need to do some sort of computer analysis, like how the other Web3 games have marketed themselves, how they have gained users. Once you do that, you put out your idea, your product out there and ask people for inputs, right? You could go on different communities, your competitor communities, and ask people that, hey, I'm trying to build this. If you're interested, probably come join the Telegram group or something. So there has to be a little bit of outbound activity for sure when you are just starting out. Once you get those 40-50 people who are really excited about what you're building, that's those 40-50 people will bring the next 50,000 people. So you need to concentrate on people who are as passionate about the problem that you are solving that even they have in their life, right? So you need to just find those 50 passionate people for your product, and once that is said, the next 50,000 is a very easy peasy game. All right. So pops is something that I love using, and a lot of people who are in the dYdX community, they already know what pops are. So you also need to have a platform where you could do active discussions. So for example, this screenshot is from Discourse. So Discourse is a platform where people can come have discussions about governance, proposals, validators, treasury, grants, subDAOs, and whatnot, right? So one platform where every conversation is happening and people can derive a lot of value out of that. So for dYdX, we use Discourse. So at dYdX, as I spoke about, how do you keep the community active? One of those things that we use is Hedgies. So Hedgies is basically a NFT that has a utility of getting a trading fee discount, as well as it's a cool picture that you could use as a profile picture. And we have used Hedgies as one of the reward systems for trading competitions that we did. So this actually keeps the ecosystem tied up. Whenever you want to do some campaigns, it's always not possible to give out some sort of financial reward. But if you have hedgies or probably, NFTs or probably something like a swag, you could use that. So what happens now? When you give out a hedgie to a community member puts out a tweet saying that this NFT is cool and changes its display picture to the NFT, right? So this actually also gives you more distribution to your project, to your community in the long run. Apart from that, as I was talking about the merch, we have a merch store where people can go and buy merch. Uh, if you don't want to buy, we do a lot of contests every week where we give out merch, and this merch is like really high quality, and you would want to have one in your wardrobe for sure, because it's like a proper gift box. Like, not sure if people have watched Coffee with Karan or not. Like, Coffee with Karan gives you like a big hamper. So this is also that we do. Like, whenever you get merch from dYdX, it's like a proper hamper, which has beautiful messages for the users and whatnot. So a lot of ways of incentivizing. Talked about NFTs. Merch is something that we keep on doing regularly. Apart from that, we do Quest. So Quest is something where you can give few tasks for the audience, for your community members to complete, and when they do those tasks, you can give them the rewards. For example, if you're on 1110, you will get a VIP box, and you will get a Discord role, which will highlight in front of everyone. So what we are giving, we're giving out role, plus we're giving out a merch, right? You could also add it up with probably hedging or whatever it is. Like, for example, on level 9, you're getting a surprise NFT. So that's an NFT. So what we did is we understood, okay, what's our community persona, what are the incentives we want to design, we want to get them, and then we combined everything into a Quest dashboard. right? So if someone wants to win anything on this page, they should reach that level. To reach that level, you need to do few tasks. In summary, align yourself with the Web3 culture. That's really important. If you are someone from the Web2 world, want to move towards Web3, understand that the industry is completely different, right? You need to work a little bit on understanding how the ecosystem works. Probably just speak to Web3 folks, or probably be active on Telegram or Twitter. Community is everything. I know a lot of Web2 founders who are coming to Web3. They feel we'll make a good product, we'll raise good funds, and then things will go their way. But that's not how it works. Community is very important. Content is important, as well as being clear with your intentions, right? Because in Web2, if you're bringing out a feature, or probably if you're doing something, nobody can ask you anything, because it's a complete private company. But when you are building a Web3 product out there, you need to have a lot of transparency. If you don't have transparency, that's a big red flag. So having clear intentions is important. Having a sense of humor is important, because there are like 3 4 meme coins in the top 10 cryptocurrencies of our world. So definitely the crypto space is driven by memes, and a lot of humor. So having a sense of humor when it comes to managing your community will also help them just to be engaged. I'm not saying to engage just on humor, but this is something that will keep them engaged. For example, we did a we recently did a meme contest where we gave them a theme, and we asked people to make memes around this theme. So we got like very interesting answers and very interesting submissions. Other thing is, get involved with other communities. So it's not like, for example, Sweet Tomato are like two competitors. They cannot work together. But in crypto, Web3, DeFi space, that's not how the case is. Even with dYdX, we do a lot of Twitter spaces with the other communities, and have very engaging conversations and healthy conversations between other communities as well. Being consistent, being transparent is also important. Involve community in key decisions. For example, even if I want to schedule a community call, I put out a poll on Telegram. Definitely I cannot put a poll on governance, because that's a very small thing to put out on. So I put out a poll on Telegram. So guys, I'm planning to do this community call on Sunday 7 p.m. Would you guys be interested? Yes, no, right? Simple as that. People who say yes, and if I do it on that time, they will feel important, right? So what we need to do is, we need to make sure that they feel important, and once we do that, they'll start taking ownership, right? And the last thing is, small things count. If you think that these things do not count, you're completely wrong. In the longer run, all the small things that you do will give you a snowball effect. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please raise your hand, or probably unmute, or put it in the chat. I would love to uh, talk to you guys. We have few minutes more left.
Hi, Pratik. This is Kant. Let me ask you a very silly question,
Yeah.
which I'm coming across these days when I'm talking on Web3 space. People are getting confused between the crypto and Web3.
Yeah.
It's a technology-wise, it's a blockchain versus a cryptocurrency. So, based on your experience, how do you suggest we need to position ourselves when we're advertising about a blockchain technology, not a cryptocurrency company?
So it depends upon what is your product actually doing, right?
Okay.
So if you have any product idea in your mind, you could probably share it, and could give you a proper answer.
Yeah, actually, we are building a platform, HR platform using blockchain technology, which will allow anybody to refer any person
Got
in
it.
very transparent manner. Everything will be exactly as you said. It's a very transparent manner. So that means the referral things, like what you said, proof of attendance is a proof of referral. Exactly similar to that concept.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, you're not planning to launch any token for this, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
are you planning to launch a token?
Later, ERC20 year, not now.
Okay. Because the problem is, when you launch a token,
Yeah.
most of the builders, most of the builders who are building it for the first time, their whole attention goes to the token value.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think that there's no actually utility for the token, you could probably do without it as well.
Yeah.
And how do you start building a community for this is very simple. There are more than 30,000 cryptocurrencies out there, right? Out of which I think 1,000, 2,000 would be having an active community.
Yeah.
You reach out to them, tell them that you have built a great product. And for example, dYdX, like employees or contributors at dYdX could use your platform. Exactly like that. There's so many projects out there who could use your platform. So I think the initial set of users that you would want to have is people who understand blockchain.
Yeah.
You cannot go and sell it to TCS because they will not understand it in the first go, right? So I think in the crypto industry, there are a lot of startups who are working and managing things remotely. So your product would actually be a right fit for them. So it's a very easy peasy collaboration that I see here.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else has any questions? Does it have any impact that open sourcing the protocol front-end? I see platforms which open source their front-ends, resulting in hundreds of clones of diluting the protocol's value and perception. I mean, that's the beauty of decentralization and open source, right? Like, for example, Uniswap, it has like a lot of folks have happened through Uniswap, but people still trust Uniswap because it had the first mover's advantage. So it can't really do anything. Like, even like all of us, if we give 15 minutes of our time today, we could probably launch a crypto project. This is the hard reality of life. That's one of the reasons there are a lot of clones, and there are a lot of bad things also happen in the ecosystem. So it has its own pros and clones. That's for sure. That's where the community is important, right? Like Uniswap as a community is pretty strong. But if you create a clone out of Uniswap, the technical aspects are like pretty similar because you've just copied the code and changed a few things. But do you have the community for that? No, right? So I think that's where community is a differentiator when it comes to having open source platforms out there. So irrespective how good your product is, if there's no community, there's no users. If there are no users, you will just keep on thinking, how can you burn money in marketing and get more users? And your incentive and the user incentive would be poles apart. So building from scratch is always the best thing to do. All right. So I'll just put a Telegram chat link if in case anyone wants to join the Telegram community of dYdX, you could do that. Currently, in India, as we speak, we are a small community, not that big, because most of them still do not understand how to use DeFi protocols. But I am trying to build a lot of content out there on my own channel, that is Vivan Life, as well as for dYdX Foundation, and making sure that in the long run, a lot of people will, migrate from CFI to DeFi. So content is also very important. And if anyone wants to contribute, please just click on the Telegram link. We can talk on how we can work together at dYdX Foundation. Thank you so much, Tia, for organizing this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people gained a lot of value across these 4 sessions, and hope to do more sessions like this in the future.
Thank you so much, Pratik. It was great. And yes, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Pratik or to me. I think my email ID was shared with everyone. Thank you again, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.